today's topic really speaks volume because it is the foundation to effectiveness of storytelling. There are many people who are so passionate but they lack knowledge. And when you tell stories without knowledge, you end up connecting to people without the people connecting to you. And that is the bridge called authenticity.
One thing that I'm really going to take away from this conversation, even though we haven't really finished it, is that our story must reflect the people we are talking to. And all our experiences, the preamble that we are going to use, must also reflect that. Even when we are authentic, our authenticity must reflect that.
We're talking literally to the third person who is listening. Because we're talking to those people who want to know our story, who want to be inspired, who want to be uplifted, who really want to say, hey, I want to know who Annie is. That is very powerful because, see, everything we go through life in and of itself, I kid you not, is about snapshots and sound bites.
Hello and thank you for checking out this video. I'm Obehi Ewanfoh, the host of the Business Storytelling Audio Series event. The event is held on LinkedIn every 2 weeks where we talk about different ways we can leverage the power of storytelling in our business and professional life. If this is your first time of hearing about this event, I encourage you to join us in the next one. I help entrepreneurs and professionals to own their story so they can attract the right audience and drive success. I am the author of the Storytelling Mastery, a 5-part book series that takes you by the hands through the ABC of storytelling. If you find that interesting, you can claim the first chapter for free at aclasses.org/free chapter. Now back to today's conversation.
I am Eni Osam. I'm essentially on a mission to make people famous. So when I meet people who do amazing things, I will suggest that we do an audio room so the world knows who you are. Now, you might wonder why I do most audio rooms than anyone else on this platform, because it's a tool, it's the best way to get known. It's the best way to get people to really understand who you are. When they can hear you, they must feel like they're with you in your space. Almost like it's an in-person experience with these audio rooms. There's no other platform where that's true. Even I've done Clubhouse, I've done Twitter Spaces, I've done live streams, but nothing compares to the experience of audio rooms where you can talk to people in real time. That's why I do lots of audio rooms. I bring great people along. That way they can grow their business. So that's a way of saying I'm a marketer, really. So audio rooms is just one of the ways I make you famous, as I always say. So we do want to put you on TV, on radio, magazines. Why not aim to be a celebrity? Because you can. The media is very expensive sometimes, depending how you look at it. So I got friends who got TV channels. I got friends who access to magazines, and friends who run radio stations. If you have the ambition and the budget, then media is where I really want to put you. So failing that, audio rooms is a great way to build your connections, to build your friends, your community, who will support you in the long run. And if you do enough audio rooms, my friends, believe you me, people get to know you. So if we've got 30 people meeting you every week, every other week, do the maths right. By the end of the year, you've met how many people? Thousands. How many of those can you engage and influence, impact, and then possibly sell to? That's the game I play, right? So my final trick, which is what brings people the most joy, is helping people to become authors. Like I always say, when you write a book, when you publish your book, suddenly you're an expert in your field. And that expertise that you've earned by writing your book will never leave you. Almost like the world sees you differently. They suddenly they ascribe all the good things in the world to you. When someone's looking for a speaker on a topic, they want someone to got a book in hand. So they'll probably come to you. When someone wants someone to comment on your area of expertise, they're going to come to you. Your customers certainly have something to look at to know what you know who you are, what you think, how you do what you do. So I love helping people to write their book. If you've written a book that's not out there in the world, let's talk, and I can help you publish that book. If you've written and published a book that's not selling, no one's reading it, then let's talk. I want to help you sell that book, right? These are all the things that make Ennis Day what it is. So I've just done my first book, so I'm actually a published author now, eventually. No, I say eventually because it's weird when you help people write their books and publish their books and sell their books, but you haven't got one yourself. And one thing you learn about me very quickly is that I love to be authentic, genuine, true to who I am. That means I do what I preach for my clients. I think that's what I'll come back to that point later on over here. Let me stop talking. I see my brother, the man with the golden voice, is here.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, of course, you're right. Any just before we started to record just now, yes, we are recording. We are recording this room because that is part of our strategy. We are making sure that our presence is not just lost in the space, because we really do not own LinkedIn. We do not own many of this platform, but at least we have the chance to be able to record our moment and make sure that we are the one that decide when they are alive, when they are not alive. That is the decision that we have made. And we are living by that. So anyhow, I was saying to him just now that you have written a book, you are going to publish, you are going to promote this book until you die. That is to say that this book is going to be alive. You are going to make it alive. And it's good, you're going to see that it's an enjoyable journey naturally. And when you put that in storytelling, you come to see that you are tickling with the most powerful instrument that we have in existence, that is known to man. If we have city built, is built on story. If we have we are able to imagine what is going to happen after our death, what is happening before our life. All these are based on the story that we have been able to shape. And those stories end up shaping who we are. So it's a fundamental instrument that we need to use, and we need to learn how to use, most importantly. All right, for some of you who do not know me, my name is Obehi Ewanfoh. I'm originally from Nigeria, just like any. I live in Italy, the northern part of Italy. I am a really curious person. So that is what led me to the project, The Journey, Africans in Verona, which is a journey that started in 2013. Just pointing the camera to the first African that I met, and I started asking them, tell me about your story. Tell me about your experiences. It looked like I just have this as a mission for me. And of course, that will be confirmed later, that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I do this every day. So putting their story together on a number of years, it occurred to me at a point that I need to look for a way to help other people benefit more in what we are doing, so that it's not just limited to the Italian situation, because right now it has become a global phenomenon through which we are able to connect with different people from different parts of the world, because we have a common identity among ourselves. We have a common idea that unite all of us together, which is our experiences. So this is what I do. I actually help a purpose-driven entrepreneur to own their story so they can use it to attract the right audience. And of course, why not drive success in that? Because like I just said, it's a fundamental instrument that we all know how to learn to use. And if we know how to use it very well, it can become the real differentiator between you and the next person that is maybe standing next to you. You see, a couple of days ago, I was actually researching online. Of course, because I am into storytelling, sometimes I am curious with a lot of things about everything sometimes. So the question I was asking myself is, if we say that storytelling is a fundamental part of our existence and experiences as human beings, but how many people have really been here? And surprisingly to me, the statistics says that there have been over 170 billion people that have walked the surface of the earth. And if you take that statistics and ask yourself some fundamental question, it will occur to you that these individuals, including you and me, are unique. Because scientifically proven, none of us is exactly the copy of another person. Each of us is unique. What if that is true? What if you could conceive that as a real idea that story can actually be the thing that help you to differentiate yourself in the world? Would you like to learn more about it? I think you do. And that leads us to the conversation that we are having today, which is how do we balance authenticity? Because every time we hear about it, be authentic, be authentic. But when we are in the sphere of storytelling, where we want to be able to connect to the people, to the circumstances, the time, the situation, the message, because now the story that we are telling is not just any other type of story. In any other type of situation, we have a clear KPI, we have a clear agenda for telling this story, which is also going to say that the way that we put ourselves in that story also need to be very clear for us. Because we don't just want to wake up now and start sharing with the people the quarrel that you had yesterday with your spouse. If that have nothing to do with the story that with the audience that you are talking with. That can also be authentic, you see. But you're not going to share the story like that, except you are going to be able to lace it in a way that it can make sense to them. You see, we do talk about our poverty, our riches, our misunderstanding, our defect, our everything. Each of them must be used in the appropriate time. There must be a clear balance of that real authentic story and the people we have in front of us. And of course, this is all we are going to be talking about today. And I'm really looking forward to that because that is a fundamental aspect of the entire experience of storytelling. But with that, I want to pass the mic to Mr. Izu. Hannah, don't worry, we are coming to you just now. Izu, please share with us. Let the people know who you are. Of course, we would all like to hear your voice. Please take it.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Obehi. I'm so happy to be here today. For some reason, I missed out during the last session. I'd like to say hello to all the beautiful people in the house, the VIP lounge, and the speakers right at the table, Mr. Eni, Mr. Chris, and the wonderful Hannah Idachaba. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Izu Samuel. I love stories and I help people to get on the test stages because everything we're talking about here is what makes us very powerful storytelling. It is possible for people to forget your name. It is possible for people to forget your job. It is possible for people to forget almost everything about you, but people can never forget your story. And this is why storytelling is very important. So, aside of my investigative work with the Al Jazeera, part of what I do is to help people to get on the TED stage, to be able to deliver their TED Talks and connect to the world, shaping lives and impacting people's lives on a general note. But today's topic really speaks volume because it is the foundation to effectiveness of storytelling. There are many people who are so passionate, but they lack knowledge. And when you tell stories without knowledge, you end up connecting to people without the people connecting to you. And that is the bridge called authenticity. Authentic storytellers are the most powerful people in this world. Products and services and people who leverage this bridge to not just tell stories, but to be authentic people, because with no human being, storytelling doesn't exist in its own. It's not an element. Storytelling is a tool that thrives through people. So if you want to truly relate authentic stories, you must be a person who understands the value proposition of the concept of being authentic. Many people don't understand why and what being authentic is. Authenticity is not just about sounding the way you should sound. Authenticity is about who you are when no eyes are on you. Authenticity is about consistency. There are many factors to this, and this is the reason we're all here today to unbox the concept of authenticity. And we believe that a good number of the people, if not everyone in the VIP lounge, you're all authentic people because it takes like to attract likes. We're like minded people in today's room. And I'm sure that by the time we're done with today's conversation, we would have created fantastic, incredible ideas on why people should leverage this bridge called authenticity for effective storytelling in business and personal life. My name is Izo Samuel once again. I believe that beyond telling stories, we should be authentic people. I yield the mic over to you, Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh. Today I'm going to be calling people's names in full. Mr. Eni Osung, Mr. Chris Berryman, and Hannah Idachaba, and Izu Samuel. Over to you, Obehi Ewanfoh.
How much I love that. Do you know somebody was saying one time that it had been proven scientifically that the best sound in the ear of the people is their name, which is why we must learn how to pronounce their name or actually make the attempt to pronounce their name. I love that. That is a good approach, Israel. I love that. That also is a good challenge. I love that. Thank you so much for that. All right, I move the mic without making much comment on Izu's declaration because that is fundamentally important. Of course, he's going to have the time to explore that because that is why we are here. We are going to learn how to balance authenticity in business storytelling. So we are coming to that.
All right. Thank you so much. I am so humbled and honored to be here with you all today because, again, it's another great day to be alive and another gift, not only to receive, but to give as well. This is what comes up for me in this great and engaging conversation about how to balance authenticity, not only in business storytelling, but literally in life itself. It's through the art of connecting and also through the art of invitation. Here's why I say that. What does the art of invitation state? The art of invitation is you're literally giving an invitation to people in and of itself to either know who you are, be a part of something that you're doing, or sharing what you love in and of itself. We've done that throughout the history of humankind. We have done that through not only of the things that we love, but also sometimes maybe of the things we don't kind of like, and say, "Hey, I'm inviting you not to go to this because it's not a great thing. There's this place that has roaches everywhere. Don't go, stay away, and everything like that." So you're inviting them to know, don't go there. That's not a great place to do. But what does the art of connecting state, though? The art of connecting states is literally not only authenticity, but a little intentionality and a little discovery mixed in. But see, ladies and gentlemen, I'll stand before you today to tell you and share with you for a lot of years, we've actually, in one way, shape, matter, or form, have done the art of connecting 180 degrees backwards. And this is the reason why I say that. We always ask each other, I kid you not, even when you probably will leave this call today, which I hope you don't, because my call to action for you to is actually do the opposite of this, is we've always asked each other, it's like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? But ladies and gentlemen, do we actually, from a place of intentionality and authenticity and a little discovery, ask to know who people are? Think about that for a moment. Does anyone come up to you and say, "Hey, Hannah, I would love to know who you are, not what you do"? And I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, I've been taken aback from the responses I get because they never heard that. It's like, why are you asking me that? is because we got to want to know who people are first, besides what they do. When you really think about it, at its very core dynamic, what you do is a natural byproduct of who you are. But why do we actually, again, always go to the do first? We've been conditioned to believe that. And I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, once we are willing to let that go, not only can we be now more authentic with the people that we connect with, but we will be not only more intentional, but we want to end up discovering again about who they are, not what they do. Because when you get down to the core thing that interconnects us all, it's our very humanity that really connects us together. So how do we approach that? Again, like I said, through the gift of invitation. We put that out there and we just say, hey to the world, my name is Chris Berryman. This is who I am, not what I do. I want to get to know who you are on a deep and meaningful human level. And just leave it at that. Because I guarantee you, and I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a matter of if they will connect with you. It's only a matter of when. Now, granted, we're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Point stipulated, full stop. Totally understand that. But you know what? When you really think about it from a connecting point of view, or even a business point of view, leadership point of view, whatever that might be for each and every single one of us, we're talking literally to the third person who is listening. Because we're talking to those people who want to know our story, who want to be inspired, who want to be uplifted, who really want to say, hey, I want to know who Annie is. That is very powerful because, see, everything we go through life in and of itself, I kid you not, is about snapshots and sound bites. The snapshot that we leave inside of people or what they feel is going to be very powerful because sometimes you may not even remember what they said, but again, you will know how they made you feel. And of course, John C. Maxwell, who's a great thought leader in his own right, has said that for many years. You may not even remember what they even said on that phone call, that conference call, whatever that might be, but you know how they made you feel. And that means a lot to a lot of us, ladies and gentlemen, because again, I have said this for eons, and I truly believe that the next currency of humanity is going to be rooted in value and not money. And when you think about that, authenticity is interconnected to value, just like authenticity is interconnected to discovery. Discovery is also interconnected to awareness and everything in between. So when you all put that together and see how, truly how everything is interconnected to one another, then we can not only lead our ways in a better way and lead our life in a better way, but even how we even connect and lead others. Because again, if we make it about them and not about us, and we put it on their timetable, not on ours, I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to change the game in and of itself. But like I said, my call to action for you guys today after this call is go out to meet somebody you may not even know and ask them, who are you? I don't want to know what you do and why you do it. Because again, we have done the do for all too long. And I understand the do matters. I get that. I understand that. But if we start to really know who people are and understand not only why they do it and what they have been passion driven, purpose driven, or from a place of just selling something, that whole experience will be completely different than what you probably have been led to believe. Because granted, we sell everything on this planet, one way of shape, matter, or form. But it's the experience that matters. Because you can have the same plumber in South London doing the same work as a guy in North London, but the experience will be completely different. You know why? Because humanity is not only similar in scope, but also different in scope. And once we embrace those differences for that which makes us whole, not only will it make them whole, it will make us whole because, again, the one thing that interconnects us all with our very humanity. So I love this great and engaging conversation. Please reach out to me. I'd love to have a one-on-one with each and every single one of you. You have a marvelous Monday. Make it your day, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris Berryman. That is a beautiful ejection there. It's really a beautiful one. In fact, it appeared that you were really like talking to me in a particular way. You see, at a point in my podcast, the Obehi podcast, I was trying to say, but how do I differentiate myself now? How do I sort of lay out my podcast? One of the things that I came up with is that I am going to pay attention to the person I have in front of me. And that led me to actually do a podcast that is in depth. Instead of sort of rushing through some few questions that I will ask you, I'm going to ask you, do 2 or 3 questions, then we'll just do that, then we are done. Okay, ciao, bye-bye. I don't do that. I take the time. The podcast actually is set up like this. The first series of questions is about the person, which is, who are you? Where are you coming from? Your background, your childhood. You see, as I continue to lay out and I'm solidified in that approach, I come to think back to where I'm coming from, my childhood, my growing up, my background as a person. I found a lot of value in that. In that I am intentionally interested in hearing your story. And this is another thing that I do in the Obehi podcast. Is that at the end of the episode, I just take a few moments to ask the person, but what is your feeling? What did you feel here? Which, of course, I've also put out there for people to listen to. Because I believe that when we pay attention to the person that we are talking to, by this time, and we're talking about listening, instead of just talking, we are paying attention and listening to the person in front of us, trying to understand who they are. For us to be able to connect will become much easier. So I think it is important what you said there, Barry, that we need to ask the people, who are you? Because if we don't know who you are, I think it is going to be difficult to understand why you are doing what you are doing. Because we will understand what you are doing. That is no problem about that. But we could never be able to get the meaning behind why you are doing what you are doing. Because this simple approach that I adopt in Obehi podcast have helped very many episodes to go in a direction we didn't even plan. You know, when I secure an episode with the person, I say, okay, we're going to do interview. We can sort of rub our mind to say, okay, this is what we are going to talk about. But in many occasions, by the time I start asking you, tell me about your background, from there we move to your grandparent, then we move to your parent and all of that, a different world will open for us. And at the end of the day, we will all feel very good about that. I want to think of it. That is what the podcast is about. Sharing our story. Not sharing just the one that we have prepared, but sharing the one that is really about us, our authentic self, our real story. Those stories that are really deep inside of us. Because again, story is powerful, or storytelling, if you want to put it like that. Coming to really look at authenticity. Today, we're looking at how do we blend it, how do we balance it in the sense that we are sharing story that the people are not going to find themselves in. Because if you just share anything because it is authentic, because it is true, you might end up putting away the people. I don't know if that makes sense to somebody. So the question we are trying to respond to here is, how much is authenticity actually authentic? Or how much should we leverage authenticity in our story? And what is too much? And what is less? What is more? I think that very fine line is what we're actually going to be navigating today.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be here all the time because the conversations are conversations that I absolutely love. Personally, anything storytelling, I believe, is exciting. And I haven't found a reason not to think it's exciting. With that said, if you're just listening to my voice for the first time, I am Hannah Dachaba and I'm a brand storyteller. So it's really, really in line with what I do on a daily basis. And it's always a pleasure to have you here. Everyone that has joined us, we appreciate you for being here. It's always a pleasure to be in the midst of the greats like Mr. Eni, Mr. Izu, and Mr. Obehi. Thank you so much all for being here. With that said, in line with today's conversation, I'm going to start with something rather shocking, right? I don't believe that there is such a thing as too much authenticity. And I'll explain. I say this to say that rather than people thinking, am I being too authentic? The question should be, how do I channel it? With that said, being authentic is really being genuine and real, right? And you want to be real in the words that you use. You want to be real in the messaging. You want to be real in your content. You want to be genuine. You want for people to have a sense of who you are and is consistent to what you're putting out. However, I think that the point that we are trying or should make should be, is it too much information rather than are you being too genuine? Because I don't feel like I've met somebody who I'm like, oh, this person is too genuine, and I have a problem with that. I believe that regardless of how you are, regardless of your level of authenticity, whether you are too much or too little, there's always a market for you. There are people out there who appreciate your level of genuineness, right? And so it comes down to, how do you channel that genuinity? How do you channel that authenticity? In what ways are you being authentic? And how are you utilizing it for your business? Which is what we're talking about today, is how can you balance that authenticity in business? Well, with that said, really look at, what line of business do I have? Who is my content for? So these are like separate, like, key points that you should have at the back of your mind. Once you have found a clear understanding of what line of business you're really doing, who you're communicating with on a daily basis, whether it's through your social media or through your website, or with like investors, people that you are going to be seeing, constantly or consistently. Once you have that clear picture, then you want to look at what kind of stories you're sharing, because we're going back to the title today, right? Business storytelling. What kind of stories am I sharing? Is it appropriate for the people that I'm speaking with? Because here's what I found, especially here on LinkedIn. I found that a lot of the times people share real genuine stories, okay? But is it for the people that truly matter? Remember that in business, you're not just speaking to everyone. That's why we talk about your target market. We talk about, oh yeah, like, oh, you've done the research, market research. I know who I'm speaking to. I know their age limit. I know what they'll be doing right now. I have an idea of what they do as an activity. Once you've done that, is the story really speaking to them, those people from your research? Is the story really for them? Can they appreciate that story? That's the fine difference between just sharing stories for the sake of, or sharing stories for business. In sharing stories for business, you want for your stories to have impact on the people that truly matter, your target market. Are you sharing? Because Mr. Obehi said something that I laughed, I chuckled. You said sharing the quarrel between you and your partner. Is that really appropriate for your target market? Now, like I said, if you are sharing stories for the sake of, sure enough, you can share a story about what you had for breakfast. But what I found is people don't really realize, number one, who is my story for and what impact will my story have on them? In business, the sole aim is to convert, meaning you want people who come across your content to be led somewhere. Whether you're saying a call to action, whether you're saying use this link to my website, or send me an email here, or this is my contact address for calls. There's usually a format, and there's usually a call to action. So, what impact is that story that you're sharing going to have? Now, we have some level of control over the impact. And so, since we have that level of control, we have to be very particular about what stories we decide to share, and really think about the impact that that story would have on our business. And so, in being genuine and being real, which is being authentic, really ask yourself, how does this benefit the person who is this story is exposed to? Are you encouraging them? Are you motivating them? Or are you leading them somewhere, like I said, through the call to action? So that's where I feel like a lot of thoughts need to go into who is this story for, and what are they going to get from this story that I'm sharing? When you think that, you would be really, really particular about what stories you pick, because you don't want to share stories about your quarrel with your partner if the aim is to, if the aim, for instance, if the aim is to inspire and to maybe just give somebody like some hope, yeah, you can definitely do that. You can be like, well, this is what happened between me and my partner, and this what happened, and then we reconciled, and la da 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 da, we're good now. Okay, good. That inspires, that can motivate somebody who is in a similar situation. But if that's not your goal, if you really want to convert, then I would not advise you to share such stories. You want to share stories about your career progression. You want to share stories about incidents that happen and spurred you to take the path that you've taken. You want to share stories of challenges that you faced or are facing and how you're able to navigate it. You want to share stories that position you as helpful, as a resource person. In when people see those stories, they not only see you as that resource person, they see you as somebody who they can trust, because going in line with what we're saying about being authentic, being real, being truthful, being honest, being genuine, they see you as somebody they can trust. They see you as genuine and is mission accomplished. So really, really, really look at that, because I just really wanted to touch on that, because I see that happen a lot of the times, especially here on LinkedIn. I feel like some stories, if it's for the sake of, good, but some stories, if it's for business, you want to be really particular about the goal and who you're speaking with and what impact you want those stories to have. And with that said, you're going to see like a massive change, not just in engagement, but really in feedback. So once you have that motive and that goal to say, this is what I want, and this is how I want it to inspire someone or motivate someone or lead them to my newsletter, my email list, right? These are goals. These are I feel like business goals. Okay, if that's what your goals are, pick stories that highlight that and lead them, to that point. With that said, I'm going to stop here because I can go on and on. But it's always a pleasure to be here. Honestly, I have enjoyed the conversation, and I'll be here, joining in and listening in. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Thank you so much, Hannah. That is a beautiful, beautiful take. How much I love that. I really appreciate that. I appreciate also the clarification that you make there, which is, I think, is fundamentally important, that it can never be too genuine. I love that. I love that. Now, in line with this authenticity thing, I think another thing that sort of relate to this a bit is when people say, you need to write the script or the story in the way that a 2 grader or a 3 grader can understand it, or write it for the 3 grader. The problem with this is that, what if the person you are writing for is not a 2 grader? Would that still make sense? Well, it's not going to make sense, because the point is, like Anna has said, no, if the story you are telling is to the audience who maybe have to do with settling relationship issue and all of that, why not? The trouble that you have with your spouse, share with them, because that is the people, that is the audience. Because in this audio room event, we have stressed it time and again that it is not about us. It is not about our experiences even. It's about the people. Which is to say that we need to enter into our life, harvest all the experiences that we have made, lace it into the story, but it must be to the interest of the people we are talking to. If your audience are lawyers, you must speak to them in the language of the lawyers. If you write to them in the way of 2 years kids, you are going to miss them because they are not 2 years kids. But what if you are writing for some people that are just on the street? They have no understanding of high grammar, for example. There is no need putting a lot of high grammar in your writing, because they will still not understand it, which is to say that it is about the people that you are talking with. If you are talking to a tech startup, for example, then you must use their language. There is no need putting the terms and terminology of the Mendes inside, because it will probably not make sense to them. So I think one thing that I'm really going to take away from this conversation, even though we haven't really finished it, is that our story must reflect the people we are talking to. And all our experiences, the preamble that we are going to use, must also reflect that. Even when we are authentic, our authenticity must reflect that. So thank you so much for that, Anna. That is very beautiful. All right, Tanya, I don't know why you came from the back door. So anyway, the mic is yours. Please share with us. The conversation is how to balance authenticity in business storytelling. We'd love to hear your take.
Okay, great question. I do believe we should be talking about it. And also for me, when we speak of balancing authenticity in business storytelling, what comes to mind often for me is brand tone. And often for many businesses, we all talk about storytelling. And I was even listening to a podcast this morning where it was being advised to consulting firms that, hey, you should really leverage storytelling for your business. But there's also something that comes to mind when I think about this. It's about brand tone, because storytelling is amazing, but you need to also be aware of your brand tone, what it is that how you are speaking to the audience, because storytelling is beyond just the words, it's beyond just the stories. It's also about how you tell it. What is the tone you have towards the market? Where are you positioning yourself in the market? Is how you will speak to the market. So when you tell your stories, is it telling up to your own brand tone? So if, let's say, for example, you had to look at me, my own personal brand, I'm very brash, I'm very cut to the chase, I keep it straight, I keep it so anybody that reads anything from me will know that this has got Tanya's touch. So whereas Izu is very much the orator, the person that you like. Okay, you could listen. I think Izu, you should get into. You see these things where they're speaking of, like when people speak in the middle of the night, they use it to fall asleep. I think you would make great money.
Isn't it
Like those podcasts to
multi-talented?
help you sleep. So Izu is very much the orator. You see him as the public speaker, the person, and the way he tells his stories is very much aligned to somebody in the speaking stages, and also being an orator and being in the journalism background. And Obehi is very much the sage. His brand is very much about being a sage and uh, sharing information. So it's really very important that you are aware of the brand tone that you want to come across as, because you might tell stories, but it also has to align to how the market sees you. So if the market sees you as a very sophisticated brand, and the way you're telling your stories, the way you are speaking to the market is very unaligned, there will be a disconnect there. So I just wanted to bring that to attention.
Thank you so much for that, Tanya. So yeah, at least for the first time, I hear somebody analyzing me, and I love that. That is really very important. In fact, one of the things that we are actually thinking of going to implement very soon now in AClasses Media is that we're going to set up a lot of survey. And we want to see how people are actually thinking about most of the services that we are offering, and I think that is going to be important. So thank you for that. All right, I've got a question for Annie, because Annie, I think you did talk a lot just now. We want you to talk more now. And I'm sort of wondering, what would you say about ways to balance up authenticity in business storytelling? We want to get some tips from you. Please share with us.
Great question, Obehi. Give me a second to answer that, right? So I welcomed everyone. There was a moment Hannah was talking, and I couldn't hear her. Actually, you had a green ring, Hannah. So I thought, what's going on? Obehi, what's going on, right? No one spoke. I was like, can anyone hear me? No one responded. So I refreshed my screen. So before that, I welcomed everyone, like I always do, right? No one heard me though, so I have to do it all over again. Give me a second to do that over here. So we like to welcome everyone, right? Sophie, welcome. Yemi, welcome. My twin, Miss Angelica. It was great to have you in our rooms, and that's the reason why we're twins. We're authentic, but we have our way of being authentic. And it pertains to this conversation today. Augusta, all the way in Paris, welcome. Glad you're here always. Brian, Christy, Dr. Barbara, Lisa, a menopause dietitian expert. We do have an audio room tomorrow. Do join us. Connect with her if menopause is something that resonates with you, my friends. Abel, I see you too. Melody, welcome. The Daddy, welcome. Tajuddin, great to see you more and more these days. Gina, friend TC, Lisa, Lucy, my brother Islam, Martin Genius. Glad you're here. Timothy, how's it going? Timothy's wife is pregnant, so I just kind of pick on him and jibe him because I'm always fascinated by the fact that life will change so much, Timothy. You don't know what's coming to you, my friend. Anyway, Bernard, welcome. My good friend Marlene is truly a woman on a mission to elevate other people through her books, through her work. Welcome. So Lua, welcome as well. I can't pronounce the end of your name. I can't see all of it, so I don't destroy your name, right? That's my friend Shuba. Welcome as well. God's Way, Alikia, Benga, Esther Comfort, Chizoba. Welcome all of you. My friends, we appreciate you spending your time with us. Look, now, Obehi, to answer your question, I think Hannah and Chris, Hannah and Tanya have made very good points, which I think is lessons for us to take away in this conversation. Look, here's a problem I see every day, and it makes me confused, bemused, right? I see people on here, and again, you said it very well earlier. Why talk about the quarrel with your wife last night? Who cares? A lot of people think that's what authenticity means. They think it means coming with your personal stories, your emotional stories, which invariably involves what I call trauma. As I saw people recently, the topic was, let's talk about our childhood traumas. I'm like, childhood traumas? I'm nearly 50. If I haven't got over my childhood traumas by now, I'm never going to get over it, right? Let's leave my childhood traumas where they should be, in my childhood. Thank you. Well, here's the point. Of course, in a room like that, you're welcome to go and share the day your mom and dad upset you when you were 3. That's fine. They'll understand. But don't confuse authenticity is storytelling about your business with that sort of story. Frankly, your customer does not care what happened to you in your childhood. It's been said many times today, thankfully. All your customers care about is how can you help them? How can you help them solve their problem? And that's where we must focus our authenticity, really. I'm talking about this in my room, Africa Business Talks tomorrow. That's an order of my run, right? Like, what does authenticity mean for African businesses? Again, I think people just they mistake what it really means. For me, being authentic, so someone mentioned it earlier, it's about what do you do when no one's looking for your clients, to help your business, to improve your services, to improve your delivery. And what that comes, what do we do when no one's looking over here? I tell you what we do. We are creating solutions for our clients. We are fixing problems. We are learning, improving our craft, improving our skills. We're inspiring others, and we're being inspired by others. That's what we want to be sharing when it comes to being authentic, because that's who we really are. We want to show people, one, that we understand our clients and what their problems are, and then we speak with truth about how we help them to solve their problem. No one wants to know that my cat died 2 years ago. No one wants to know that my dinner burnt last night. It might make you laugh, but no, it's not. That's not going to help me in business, right? It's certainly that you don't want to know when I argue with my wife or my kids or anything else, right? I said, let's learn to not to bring emotions that are not going to help us into the conversation. The emotion your client wants to hear is the emotion of, as Hannah said, you overcoming, you creating, you pushing ahead, you pushing ahead for your customers. Talk about things in your business that truly are going to engage your clients. You don't need to, use the whole death and sympathy conversation. It doesn't help your clients. It may make them feel sorry for you. Some people might benefit from that. I'll be honest with you, right? But most people are just not gonna care. They won't respond. They probably go away thinking, "How can you really help me when you're so broken?" So maybe you can turn that story into a story of overcoming. There's a way to be authentic, my friends. It's very rare in business, and in the UK, we'll say something called warts and all. That's showing everyone, everything. You don't need to show everyone everything. Again, it was mentioned earlier. It's about being intentional. I think Tanya said, "No, we're very intentional in what we do share." That's what this is all about, really. You figure out how you live your brand, how you live your business every day. Share those are authentic stories because they're true. Share those. That's what we all do. And well, Hannah just showed you her commitment to this room. Those who came in later, you might have missed it. But Hannah was walking home, and rather than wait to get her home before she started to join the conversation, she joined, and we all heard that why she doesn't do her audio events on the fly. But also, we know that she's committed to being here with us and sharing her message with you. That's authenticity for you. That wasn't Hannah running and then coming to tell us days later, "Oh, I was late for something, and I meant to join, but I didn't join." No, so there was no story. She lived it in front of us. We know Hannah's commitment now, right? Make that your way of showing people your authentic stories. No, more so my point is this: when you're being authentic, you must have, you haven't got to tell them, show them, make them feel it. That's the way forward, Obehi.
Thank you so much for that, Denny. Thank you. I really love the value that each one of you is bringing to the room. And I think this is the promise that we have made to the audience. And I want to believe that the audience are getting value from it. All right, let me test that. The beautiful faces that we have in the audience, are you getting value from this presentation? Show any sign if you are getting any value here. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I love that. Yes, it is true. I know that we are sharing value here. I know that you are getting value here. I know because I know what it means to get value. I get value from people. I get value listening to quality conversation. So I know what that means. This is true. In that, you see, what is happening in our life, we are actually like a kind of mini universe ourselves. That is a conversation that is very common among us. Now we are exploring it sometimes deeper. The identity crisis that many of us are facing, particularly people of African descent. So, with different experts, psychology professor, we are expanding on that conversation, which is to say that the human being, the way we are really like mini universe. We have everything inside of us. But we're not going to pour that on the people because it is true that we have all this suffering that is going on. But what is it going to serve the audience if we just pour it on them? That you just hit your leg, then you share. It is true, of course. That is true. But is that really going to help them? I think Hannah already asked the question. Is that going to help them? If not, why share the story with them? Because business storytelling is different from the evening storytelling you share with your friends. In business storytelling, there is an agenda, there is a clear objective, there is a clear reason why you are sharing the story. If you just come to tell them, oh, my stomach is hurting me, it's hurting me, maybe your stomach is really hurting you, but what for what? So I think that is really important, that whatever story you choose, you can really say any story, but be ready to make sure that the story you are telling resonates with the people and you make it clear to them. Because otherwise they're going to be asking, why did I waste my time? So I thank all of you for this valuable information here that you are sharing. Now I want to go to Izu. Of course, I like to hear the voice, but I also like the value that Izu is sharing here. And talking of value, I want Izu to help us with something. What is the role of brand value in balancing authenticity in business storytelling? Izu, please share with us.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh, for that fantastic question. When people talk about value, what comes to your mind? Brand value, what comes to your mind? For me, I would say that two important words defines the concept of brand value. And we're going to build a connection between the concept of brand value with the topic we're handling today, authentic storytelling, authenticity in business storytelling. Two very important words. The first is clarity. You can't talk about brand values without talking about the clarity of the solution the brand is bringing to the table. When the brand communications cannot explicitly explain the concept clearly, then the value of that brand would never be understood or received by anybody. And the second word there is sincerity. Most brands are very brilliant, but they lack one thing: sincerity. And one of the best ways to communicate the brand value of any organization is to hinge it upon the concept of sincerity. You should care about the values that your business invests in and be clear about what those values are and where they apply. So, when you are very clear and you're sincere, what happens is that it becomes very easy for you to build connections. And those connections is what obviously would bring what is called both your primary and your secondary customers who would share in your values and also connect with your brand over the time. Now, most businesses pay less attention to this great concept. And this is why we have great businesses and amateur businesses. For your business to thrive at some certain points across the globe, leveraging different clients and different customers base to bring you lots of resources financially and connection wise, you need to pay attention to this great brand values topic. And if you ask me, if you want to clearly and sincerely communicate the brand values of what you represent, that is where authentic storytelling comes in. There are series and segments to the concept of brand values. When you talk about brand values, you go to cost-based valuation. That is it's one of the non-vians in valuation in brand values communication. You talk about the market-based valuation. You talk about the income-based valuation. You talk about the customer-based valuation. And you also talk about the NAPS, which is the Net Promoter Score valuation. All of those, they are all primarily connected to the concept of the brand. So the brand is not just about the color, the brand is not just about the heading, the brand is not just about the name of your business, the brand is not just about the solution your business is bringing to the table. There are variations, there are variables that communicate all of the concept of brand values. But then to simplify this, I would say that one of the easiest ways for any individual organization to communicate their brand values is via being authentic. Authentic storytelling makes it very easy for people to connect, resonate with what your brand is about. And when we talk about brand here, I always tell my friends and my clients that brand simply means what solution are you bringing to the table? What solution are you bringing to the table? So I don't know if someone can help me to type that in somewhere. When you talk about brand, you should ask yourself, what solution are you bringing to the table? Brand is not just about the way you talk. Brand is not just about the vague stories. Brand is not just about the colors. Branding has to do with the consistency and the intelligence with which you're able to bring solutions to the table all the time. For instance, if you are in the communications industry and you want to teach people how to be effective communicators, you need to be able to niche down. Like talking about confidence, that can be a solution you're bringing to the table. Are you talking about enunciation, elocution? Those can also be solutions you're bringing to the table, which is very important here. It's not just about the solution. We talk about the consistency with which you bring the solution. But most importantly, as I summarize, I would encourage as many of you as possible here who is listening in. If you have a brand or you represent any brand, one of the best things you must do for yourself and for the brand is to clearly attach yourself with the value proposition of that brand, because the value proposition comes with an envelope full of goodies, full of pounds and dollars that explains not just the story proposition of your brand, but it also gives a lot of information about primarily a lot of intelligent factors and angles that relates to what that brand is about. And finally, I would like to say this to whoever is listening to me. There is no brand that can ever thrive without being authentic. Authenticity is very silent, but the volume speaks loud. And this is why we have people, even after, this is why we have brands and people, even after many years, they still remain relevant in the market. They still remain very relevant in the media. They still remain very relevant across the board. So, whilst we talk about all of these factors, I think that it is most important that I also talk about the angle to being authentic, connecting it to all what we are talking about here today. There is no brand as powerful as you as an individual being an authentic person, being an authentic representative of that brand. This is very important that I stated this. And I don't know, Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh, there was this lady that came up on the stage. Her name is Melody. I don't know if she's still in the VIP lounge, but if she can, let her come up. I would like to encourage all of you to follow her. She's new in LinkedIn. She just recently came on board. She has so much value, both in journalism and this media and the storytelling thing that we're all talking about here. My name is Izu Samuel, and I believe that every brand must communicate their values for people to truly connect and do business with them. Over to you, Mr. Obehi. Wow.
Ewanfoh, thank you so much. You got it right. You got it right, my brother. Thank you so much for that presentation. That is really lovely, no? You see, this is a cheat here. A cheat in the sense that we are just getting all this value for free. But why are we doing it? Because we make a commitment to do this. And this is also part of the value that we are talking about here. And I think it's fundamentally important. And I thank you also, Izu, for mentioning Melody. But of course, we don't see her anymore. If you are there, please come around. We like to celebrate ourselves.
No,
Yeah?
just come back in just now. Melody, please raise your hand.
Raise
We'd
your
love
hand.
to
We add
hear
you to the
you.
room.
Let me see. Just recommend us, ask us to bring you up specially.
Yeah.
No. Obi, can I welcome some people, please?
Yeah, please go.
We can go to Miss Hannah. So, Mr. Gibson, I don't know whether the queue. So I'm glad you're here. My good friend Mauricia, welcome. Say, amazing storyteller, written an amazing book about her health journey and her overcoming adversity journey. That's what it is, really. Michael, well, I'm glad you woke up, my friend. Michael sleeps very well every night. I'm jealous. I wish I did. He's a legend as well. So let's share America Supermom. Glad you're here. So what's next? Have I mentioned everyone else? I think so. I mentioned Margaret as well. Yes, I think in passing. Okay. Okay, but back to you over here.
Thank you so much for that, Annie. We love your approach. We love what you're doing. We love your participation here also. Thank you for that. Yes, it is important there. The value that you are sharing, Izu. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. All right, now I got a curiosity, and of course, I'm going to be turning to Hannah Idachaba. Now, I have a feeling that somebody might be confused now. I don't know what to do anymore about balancing authenticity in a business storytelling. Maybe the person didn't get the message. If there is an individual like that, just one person, where would you want such a person to start from? And what should they do to correctly balance authenticity in their business storytelling? Please help us with some tips.
Alrighty, thank you so much. I just wanted to say how like I have enjoyed the conversation so far. I just feel like there's so much value that we are sharing today, and I hope that people are leaving with value and just getting as much value that I'm getting, because I'm just listening in and I'm like, oh wow, like I cannot believe that I'm a part of it. With that said, I want to first of all state that because I wrote something very recently around how you can successfully brand yourself with your stories. And the feedback was amazing. Like I was getting a lot of people in the DM saying they didn't know and like this was eye-opening. But I just wanted to reiterate that point here because like it's also in line with what we're saying today about the power of stories and how you can use your stories. And I love that we have those conversations in this room. So you can most definitely brand yourself with the kind of stories that you share. And I have found that people don't really realize that. I'm going to give you an instance. If you are sharing stories consistently about your health, say for instance, you are maybe somebody struggled through something or they had an ailment and they're sharing about how that affected their lives and where they are now and how they overcame that, or maybe they're still battling that ailment, right? If you are sharing those stories on a daily, weekly basis, there is I'm going to tell you for a fact, people are going to see you and remember you as, oh, is that lady or is that guy that's always sharing the story about their health journey. And so people don't realize that the stories that you share can effectively brand you. So you have to be really intentional about the stories that you share. I just wanted to state that. Like that's how important stories are and that's how powerful stories are, in the sense that if you can decide right now to share specific stories about specific areas of your life, in no time, on a consistent basis, in no time people are going to see you as that person. They would immediately link that conversation that you're having to you. So it's so important to be very intentional about the stories that you tell. With that said, you asked a very important question. How do you start? How do you know what stories to share for somebody in business who's thinking that? I already said this before, but I will reiterate. The first thing that I would advise for you to do is simply ask yourself, what purpose is this story that I want to share? Always have that at the back of your mind before you share any story. Of what purpose is this story? What do I want this story to do? Not just for you sharing that story, but for the people who are exposed to the story. Do you want to inspire someone? Then absolutely share the story about something inspirational. Your journey to wealth, your journey to poor to reach, from poor to reach, your story about how you got into the career path that you're doing right now, right? Inspire somebody there, motivate them. That's absolutely fine. But if you are sharing stories for business without a purpose, it will show, because over time you would have stories that are a bit disjointed. So you're sharing one story now, next week you're sharing another story, the other week you're sharing another story, and it looks like, okay, so who is this person? Right. And a big part of authenticity, I was going to also state, is consistency in your messaging. So people don't realize that if you are not consistent in the stories that you are sharing, I'm not saying share one story over and over again, and that's not even a bad thing. You can absolutely share one story over and over again and just change the style and method, right? But you also have to be consistent in what you're saying and how you're saying. Tanya made a very important point, shared a very important point about your tone. So if you know your tone is a soft tone, you don't want to then sound harsh or brash or sound straight to the point, because then you're inconsistent in how you are communicating. So really, really look at, like I said in the beginning, what is the purpose of this story that I am sharing? And what do I want people to take away from this story that I am sharing? Do I want them to be inspired, motivated? Do I want them to be clients? Then share stories that show your strengths as a business owner. Share stories that show your uniqueness as a business. Share stories that highlight what makes you different from competitors. You can essentially do that with your stories. This is like a hack, okay? You can do that with your stories. Share stories about why people come to you rather than your competitor. What are you doing differently? Is it in your customer journey? Is it in the way that you give products? Is it in the packaging? Is it in the extra personalized notes that you attach? What makes you different in your business? And how can you communicate that? Stories are the way to communicate that. So I spoke about purpose. I would also speak about, you want to look at the benefits, which I said before, the impacts. What impact? What are they going to take away? So, somebody who is listening to your story or reading your story, what is the takeaway? Are they reading that story going, oh, I want to work with this person? Or are they reading that story saying, goodness, she's gone through a lot and like she's inspiring? Good. Or are they reading that story saying, wow, this is TMI? Like, I don't want to know what she had for breakfast. I'm not interested in her last quarrel with her partner, right? So like, you want to really think about what people would have as a takeaway from your story. And if you are in business, your takeaway should really be around seeing your business as the business, seeing you as a resource person, having people having trust to with you and trust in your business. Okay, so these are like basic takeaways that you want people to have as a business. You also want people to be able to say, okay, I want to work with this person, because you are sharing stories about even feedback from your clients. Okay, this is what happened when I met this client. This is how we worked together, and this is what we achieved after 2 months or 3 months or whatever duration that you and that client have worked together. So it's so important to really look at the purpose of your story and what you want people to take away. When you have that at the back of your mind, I believe that you would pick and write or choose stories that would highlight all these points that I've made, and essentially improve your business like all round. Like, you would have more engagement, and not just engagement, because people mistake engagement for sales. Absolutely not. You can have 1 million likes and zero conversion. I've seen that happen. And so you can share stories about your husband, you and your husband or your partner's quarrel, and people would actually engage. But is that what you want for your business? So do you want that engagement? Good. If that's what you want, then share that. But do you want those engagements to be converted to sales? Now you want to share stories that highlight your strengths, that show your strengths, that also shows what people are going to get when they contact you for work, when they send those messages, when they hit you up to say, hey, what's up? Okay. So that's what I would share. And I hope that it really helps somebody out there. But listen, like I always say, Mr. Easy even teases me about saying my DMs are open, but it's true. It's always open because I always want to hear what people have to say, like feedback, whatever. Thank you so much, Mr. Easy. I hope that that answers the question.
Absolutely, absolutely, it does. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And the audience are appreciating it too. And of course, those that are going to listen later, they will also see the value. Thank you for that. All right, Miss Melody, we're happy to have you here. Please share with us. And of course, connect with everybody in the room. We're all here for you to make the connection. This is what we are here for. Please go ahead and share with us.
All right, Mr. B, thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity to speak. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you, Mr. Izu. I do appreciate. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Please go on.
All right, thank you so much. This is actually an interesting, conversation, because in the world that we are today, everybody wants to, be out there, but we don't really have enough people that are authentic, that are real with what they do. They just want to be so salesy, and which is not right, because you need to be able to communicate and make people understand that what you are doing is real. You need to be authentic for people to believe in you and to follow you. And it's really a great conversation. I've been learning, hearing Anna and Annie speak as well. So it's really been an interesting one for me. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. We are happy that you find value in it. And talking of value, what we are doing now is for each of the room that we are doing, we are having audio record of it, which of course translate into video that you can listen to on our channel. But we have also decided to translate every room into an article where we of course get the snippet of what each speaker says, and we translate that into an article that you can read. Why? Why? Because different people consume content in different ways. And another why is because we have decided to make sure that our name are there. We intentionally are making sure that that is happening. So if maybe you listen to this room now, you want to learn more, you want to, because we have done a lot of room, we've been doing it for a long time, and we still have a lot of time ahead of us to be able to do this, and it's in the continuation. So different topic have been covered in this series. So maybe you want to learn more, just come to AClasses.org and just search for audio LinkedIn audio room. You will see a lot of them. Of course, we have 2 rooms. We have the other second room where we talk about the African diaspora, our story, which of course is a different take than this, because here we are talking about business, different approach, how we use storytelling in business. But there is the other room where we talk about our sentiment, our emotion, our feeling, our history, our suffering, what we are going through. You can see that they are different now. See, that is an experience I want to share with us, so that it's in line with what we are talking about here, which is about authenticity, but it's also about addressing a specific audience. So we brought in a guy to speak in the other room, and his speech was really good. It was really good, trust me, but it wasn't for that room. The speech could be really perfect in this room. It doesn't mean that it's useless just because the audience are different. The people that come to listen to that room, which is the same room that we are doing, they come with a different mentality. They come with a different mindset. They are expecting a different kind of message. So if we take this room, for example, what we are discussing here, and just take it there, it's still not going to land the way that it will land here. Because when people come to listen to this room, the business storytelling, they prime their mind for a different kind of message. So I think this should resonate with what we are talking about here. All the things, all the story have happened to us. All the experiences have happened to us. You are a mother, you are a wife, you are a worker, you are a co-worker, you are a lover, you are a church leader, you are a community leader, whatever you are. Everything have happened to you. But you don't just pour that on the person in front of you. The first question is, who is this person? What do I want this person to understand from the story? Based on that, you pick from the billions of experience that you have had, because all of them are not going to resonate with the person. And what might resonate with this particular person might not resonate with the other person, even though they are all true. All your experiences are true, but it's not going to resonate with every person. So I think that is what is really very important about balancing our authenticity when we are in business storytelling. Of course, this will be clarified. I don't need to be repeating what is already said before. So I want to say that to say thank you for the value that we have sharing here, each and every one of you. So you have come to that point. I think we start with Izu. What would be your final thought here? And please tell people how they can find you and find also your services. That is important for us. Please go.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh. I mean, it's been a great conversation since we started today. And I believe that for every time we invest here, people receive so much value, and they're able to go back to their closets and begin to practice what they learn here. When great minds collaborate in this nature to produce great contents such as we're doing here, what is expected of the audience is to take action. Action is very important. And that brings me to my final word. There is no need for people to receive what they aren't going to use. There is no need at all. You receive because you're probably going to be using what you've received for yourself and for the growth of any organization, any platform you belong to. So if you're here today and you're planning to give a TED talk, you're planning to deliver a public speaking delivery or speech or something, you're planning to do something out there. If there is one word I'd like you to remember today, it is action. Action is what separates people. When you take an action, you become an authentic person. When you take an action, you become an authentic person. When you take an action, you become an authentic person. I said it 3 times, but when you do it 7 times, when you do it 14 times, when you do it consistently, you become a name and a person that cannot easily be forgotten. So the LCM of all I am saying right here today is, please, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people in the VIP lounge, take action. Think less and take more actions. People want to do great things, but I tell people, focus on doing little things with great mindsets. One of the things stopping people in this world today is that they want to do great things. But when you focus on doing great things with great mindsets, you would have produced great results. So those will be my final words. If you want to find me, you can click on my name, Izu Samuel, and you're going to see my page, and you check me out as much as I will check you out, because this is a collaborative venture. Once you send your friend request, I'm going to send my own connections, and let's collaborate, not just to make money, but to shape the world, and for us to raise people that will be confident enough to tell their stories. My name is Izu Samuel. I believe in all of you, and I love you all. I'm going to yield the mic over to you, Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh, and then hi. I wanted to say, just as much as Hannah Idachaba would say, my DM is open. Feel free anytime. Just it is open 24/7. My voice doesn't sound like
And that is a testament of the fact that each of us must remain in our comfort zone. Not only in our comfort zone, in our vantage point. Izu, we can't even mistake your voice. Your voice is too authentic to be mistaken. So we know who you are. Thank you so much for being there. We love you. All right. Yes, Hannah. Hannah Indachaba, please go ahead and leave us with your final thoughts. And please remember to tell the people how to find you and how to find your services.
Okay, thank you so much. I love the name and last name stuff going on here. So thank you, Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for running the room and just putting all of this together. And Mr. Izu Samuel, please do not try to mimic me, because that was funny, so funny. With that said, I want to leave today by saying that because you're authentic is not a guarantee that you would have leads swooping in, and just because you're real does not mean that people would immediately want to work with you. However, there's certain things that you can add to being authentic. Technicality is always in vogue, consistency is always in vogue, and professionalism is always in vogue, especially if you are a business. Okay, so that's why we are here. We're not just here to fill your ears and then you go bye bye. No, we're also here to help you in those areas that you might be lacking. It's okay to not have everything. You can have authenticity packed, you can have consistency packed, but something is missing. You're not getting results, you're not getting leads. Pop any of us a message and we'll be sure to respond. And I'm going to end with what Mr. Izzy was trying to say. My DMs are always open. I'm right here on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a message and I'll be sure to respond. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that has, stuck around. We appreciate you. Thank you to Mr. Eni Osong. He's just a superstar. Everybody knows that. If you don't know, then where have you been? To Mr. Obehi Ewanfoh, thank you for putting this together and being consistent. Your labor is not in vain. We see it. We appreciate you. To Mr. Izu Samuel, just keep being awesome, because you're really an awesome person. I want to appreciate everyone as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hannah Ilachaba signing out.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you. You're a superstar. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. This is why we are here. We are here also to celebrate each other, to leave a mark. No, actually, to leave a dent in the universe, because what we are doing now cannot suddenly disappear. It is not possible. It is not possible. Before we started this room, I was talking with Eddie, where he was sharing with me the book that they are just published, different people coming together to write an incredible book. And in fact, I'm looking forward to the conversation because I'm going to be doing an episode with Annie during the week. That is an important a milestone in the life of a person. Now, I want to say this again, even though this is not the room for that, each of us must consider the option of at least writing a book, even if it is one. It is not very difficult, trust me. It is not very difficult. You are intentionally leaving your print in the world. Think about that for a moment. So I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to leave the mic to Mr. Enin Osong. Enin, please take it from me.
Thank you so much. Amazing shares by my amazing co-hosts. Let me welcome Shanella. I don't think I welcomed you before. Shanella is a utilities expert, utilities saver, utilities legend. So if you're British, especially you're in the UK, and your bills are a problem, talk to Shanella for sure, right? One of the customers. So I know what she does. Francesca, welcome. Henrietta, I see you to the amazing Terence. Glad you're here. Kim Lee, Master Heart here, welcome. Just looking at your posts. Timothy, as I mentioned you earlier, Suzanne, welcome as well. Look, and I think that it's this topic. I'm glad we have a sharing of minds, my friends. So that's a way of saying you've covered much of the important things. It's easier said. Make sure that you focus on your brand values. And I think we've all pretty much said you must live your brand. It's all right talking about being authentic, and talking is talk, right? Action speaks louder than words. Was Mr. Isa's speaking words exactly. It's all right telling people what we do, but first we have to create the brand. We have to create a vision of how we're going to make our customers' lives better. Then we have a story to tell where we actually implement that vision, right? Apple tells us stories by not saying a word. They just create genius. When they say a new iPhone is out, you know what it means. You know that's going to be the most high-tech phone that exists. That's because the brand tells a story. They created a brand with unique values. That's what makes Apple one of the number one companies in the world. Now, what's your brand identity? What's your brand values? What have you created? What are you telling your stories about? We must create that thing. We must create that business that solves our customers' problems in our unique way. That's when we have stories to tell. Any other way, we're winging it. And when you wing it, eventually people stop looking and they stop believing you. I've been intentional over here and actually creating genius, which is within all of us as sphere. It's in our powers, right? Let's create that brand. Let's create those solutions, and then let's naturally tell people about how we're helping people. That's the simple. That's what being authentic really means, right? When people look at you and say, why have you shared that? Because it's what I do. It's what I've done. That's authenticity in action. I'll leave you with that, my friend. Thank you so much. Look, my friend, and I said, I'll leave you with the point that storytelling is a skill. We must learn storytelling. And Mr. Obehi is probably the biggest person you want to meet to learn how to tell stories. So this room, of course, is his brainchild. He has courses on storytelling. Hell, he's written the books about storytelling. I know he hasn't told you today, but I know he does have a 5-part book series about business storytelling that I think everyone should read. There is a free chapter just to see whether his way of telling stories and his way of teaching resonates with you, get a free chapter, my friends, and you certainly won't regret it. And you might learn how to actually tell stories that engage and then convert, the people that you attract to your business into customers. I'll keep quiet now.
Thank you, Annie. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. All right. Henrietta, did I pronounce that correctly? Oh, Henrietta, she's disappeared. What happened there? Okay, I believe maybe that is a technical issue. Yeah, we were just about leaving. Okay, let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Please go ahead and share with us briefly, please. Christy, go ahead.
Hi. Happy Monday. Good morning.
Good morning
Nice
to you. Please go ahead and share.
So, what did you have a question? Because I just joined. I just found out that you're on. As soon as I see you, I come over because then I know you can bring a lot of value to a room. Right now, I'm in a Fortune 500 IT consultant based out of New Jersey. I love my job. I love helping people with AI, cybersecurity, cloud enablement, especially everything that's going on with Microsoft right now. I'm on fire with senior IT leaders at global Fortune 500 companies. So if anybody ever wants to do business with a company that provides an excellent boutique level of IT service and recommends the right people for IT projects, you want to come to me at Data Edge Consulting, because there's people out there that are presenting themselves on paper. They can articulate themselves with their voice, which is a fingerprint, by the way. Do not say the word YES on the phone. I'm learning so much in my industry from all these amazing people that I work with on a day-to-day basis. People that are curing cancer. That's who I work with, and that's why I love my job so much. So just thank you for having me. If anybody ever wants to talk to me, I'm always there for everyone, especially women in business. Love me some ZZ Williams. If you're not following her, follow that woman right now. And yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your time.
All right, before you go, how do you balance authenticity in business storytelling? Briefly explain that to us in your industry.
I think in as far as being authentic, be authentically yourself, because you can tell when somebody is coming across nervous or they're not being honest. There's cues that you can learn as a leader, as somebody that talks to somebody on a day-to-day basis, that has a resume that they have pretty much crafted based on all their experiences, where they went to school, what they are knowledgeable about in their respective field. So you really need to be your authentic self, because if you're not being true to yourself and you're not coming across as being an honest person and not able to articulate yourself in good English that helps people understand you, then you need to work on that. I just think authenticity is significant if you want to work with companies like Johnson and Johnson or Kenvue, like Fortune 50 companies. They look for the best of the best. And if you're not your authentic self and you're not who you're saying you are, then you're not going to last long. Well, you can always sniff out a liar. And so just be yourself, be authentically yourself, and that'll shine through. And that's all I'll say about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christy. We appreciate you. Thank you for that sharing. And thanks to each and every one of you. Hannah Indachaba, Eni Osong, Izu Samuel. Thank you so much for your sharing. This has really been an interesting conversation. I want to close this conversation the way I started it. That a couple of days ago, I was researching online, trying to find out how many people have walked the surface of the earth. And what I found out is that there have been about 170 billion people. Now, I'm making mention of that to say that it is important that we own our story. Our story is the pen with which we are going to write our experience in the universe. That writing is a dent. We need to make a stain in this universe so that our name will be written there. That name is our experience. When you go to the burial ground, you see somebody is written a date and a date. When you were born and when you died, that in between, in the dash, that is the dent. That is your experience. What do we want to leave behind? That is our experience. That is our story. What if we could have the chance to be able to shape that story? A lot of things would actually happen. So if you are by any chance interested in learning how to own your story, then I invite you to check our signature program. It's a 5-step way of how to be able to own your story and leverage it in whatever you are doing. Storytelling for us is an instrument that we need to use, and we need to own it. Owning it also means owning our version of the universe, being able to say, this is who we are. This is my experience. This is the way I see it. Because this is the only chance you have. Because if you think back to that 170 billion people, I want you to know that you in that 117 is a unicorn. It will take the universe, I don't know how many millions or billions of years to reproduce exactly who you are again. So this is a chance that you have. Why not leave a dent? Why not leave a message behind? So this is very important. Storytelling is a powerful instrument that we need to own. We don't need to watch it just float by. Let's own it. Let's share our perspective in this universe. So thank you, everyone. And please join us again, because every 14 days, we are here showing how we leverage the power of storytelling in what we do.
Thank you, Obehi.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.